Hi, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Sleeves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with my co-host, LindaAKATheGamerGirl,
What's up, Internet?
and my guest gamers, Dan Dragon,
Hello, everyone.
Bones Z06,
Yo, what's up, everybody?
and Retro Mikey 78.
Cowabunga, everyone.
We'll start this podcast off with the first segment, Sleeve It or Leave It. The first game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Dan, would you sleeve it or leave it?
Yes, definitely. I would sleeve this one. I'm a big fan of this game in the arcade, and I was a big fan of this game on the NES, so I would definitely sleeve this.
Bones?
I would definitely sleeve this as well. This was one of my favorite childhood games. I loved it. So, yeah, definitely would sleeve this one.
Linda, sleeve it or leave it?
Leave it. This made my top 3 for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games.
And shall I ask Mikey if he's going to sleeve or leave Turtle game?
I'm going to sleeve everything Turtles.
All right, next title is Strider. We'll start with Bones this time. Sleeve or leave it?
I'm going to go with sleeve it. That's a good game, so I'm going to have to go with sleeve it.
Mikey, sleeve it or leave it?
Strider, it's an alright game on the NES, but no, we can leave it.
Dan, sleeve it or leave it?
I would sleeve this game. I actually like this game better than the arcade game. I thought they added more story to it, so I would definitely sleeve this game.
And Linda?
I would sleeve it. I enjoyed the NES version.
Okay, on to the next game, Super Star Wars. We'll start with Linda this time. Sleeve it or leave it?
I would say no, I wouldn't sleeve that one.
And Mikey?
It's a Star Wars game. You gotta protect the Force, so sleeve it.
And Bones?
This is a guaranteed sleeve for me. I love all 3 Star Wars games on at Super NES.
Dan?
Yeah, I have to say, when this game came out, I was blown away by the graphics and sound of the time. It was really impressive. It's hard as hell to play, but I would still sleeve it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you need those thermal detonators.
Okay, on to the next game, which is Final Fight, and we'll start with Mikey this time.
Final Fight. I'm going to say sleeve that one. It's a good beat 'em up.
Linda?
I would sleeve that one. I enjoy this game.
Bones?
I like all 4 of them on Super NES. You know I like Final Fight Guy because I had that one already sleeved, so I'm eventually going to sleeve all of them. So yes, this one will get sleeved.
And I already know Dan's answer to this question. Dan?
Yeah, Bones, you don't have to worry about the sleeves since I already had Chris make them all for Final Fight games. But,
All right.
but yeah, this one I would sleeve. I like Final Fight Guy much better, but this one still deserves a sleeve.
Okay. On to the next segment, which is Logo Sleeve of the Month. And this month goes to Bones Z06.
Yay!
Congrats, Bones.
Yay!
Woo-hoo! Look at that thing.
Just know that these
Oh, yeah.
logo sleeves are available for sale. If you're interested in one, please contact me. All proceeds go to the channel. On to the next segment. Guess that box art. Now, for some reason, I think a lot of people know what these are. So, for that reason, I'm going to start with Linda. What's your guess on the first one?
I know it's a Simpsons game. Is it that one that's like Bart World?
Yes. It is
Oh.
Bart versus
Mhm.
the world.
Yep.
The title. I knew it was something Bart World.
Okay, and the next one, you want to give a crack at that one too, Linda?
This one is harder because I can. Well, what system it is?
NES.
NES.
Yes.
It's Star Wars.
Yes, you got that one
Yes.
too.
Yep.
2 for 2.
Oh.
Linda's on a roll.
Not bad.
Okay. Now, to get to the actual podcast, we're going to turn it over to Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think this month we'll talk about something new, and that's Arcade1up cabinets. This is something we've been talking amongst ourselves for a while, and some of us here own them. Me myself, I own a few of them. So yeah, we just thought it'd be good to discuss how they are holding up, how we like them, what would we like to see next, what are everyone's thoughts, opinions, and prospects for the future, I guess. So I'll just start off and I'll just describe what I have, and who else on here has either owned or played any of these cabinets?
I own the Turtles cabinet, and I've played about 6 of the other cabinets.
I personally played a few of these, but do not own.
I played a couple, but they were at Walmart.
I stood next to one and saw the size of it next to me and laughed and walked away.
All right, so we got some opinions already, but yeah, for me, I mean, I was really excited when these first came out. I mean, I had always dreamed of owning an arcade unit, and for me, they've always been really expensive for me to own a real one, and I was a little scared that I would get it and it would break down. I wouldn't have any means to fix it. So that's what kept me from ever owning like a real sized arcade cabinet. So when I heard these were coming out a couple years ago, I was really excited because they looked reasonably affordable. They're not super cheap, but they're definitely affordable if you really want to spend the money on something like that. It's definitely priced for the mass market for people to own one. And then when I saw the titles, I was really excited because there are definitely some games that some popular arcade titles from the past. And what really sold it for me were games that were hard to play or experience at home otherwise, like games with a trackball or like a multiplayer game with like 4 people at the same time. So those are always hard to duplicate at home, and without having to, go to some extraordinary means to emulate these on your computer or something. So those were all reasons why I decided to, start checking them out. And once I just kept, finding pretty decent deals. I think the price point they all start at about $300, $299 for the basic ones. Some of the more fancy ones cost more, but over time, we've been able to find them for a little bit cheaper, or sometimes like on Black Friday, or Walmart's notorious for lowering the price and putting them on clearance, and people finding great deep prices on them. So that's what appeals to me. I'll be curious to see what else other people think and what you see as the attractive features of these cabinets.
Go ahead, Mikey. What's your thoughts on the cabinets?
The cabinets, I mean, they're put together nicely. My problem, I think the main thing I didn't like about them is when you get them, you have to really enjoy the games that you're buying. Because over time, you might get bored with some of the titles on there. A buddy of mine, he bought the Mortal Kombat cabinet, and I've been over there about probably 7-8 times to play it. I looked at it and said, how many times can we sit here and play Mortal Kombat? I mean, it's Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3.
Is it more of a nostalgic value than it is a replay value?
For some people it is, some people it's not. If you're going to have lots of company come over, I could see the appeal of it. And even my Turtle cabinet, I only play it maybe once a week, and that's just to refresh myself. I play with the different turtles, trying to different aspects of the game, but it's still something I could have played on a console unless I get more people over here to play it. But I don't have guests over too often.
Well,
Well, it's not a lot of space either.
Right. There are certain games that just aren't on console. So, like, there would probably be more appealing as cabinets.
Right.
Yeah, so I was that's one of the reasons why I picked the games that I bought, because there are games that are hard to play otherwise. But Mikey, so do you like your cabinet? Do you regret buying it, or are you still happy with it?
Oh, I'm still happy with it. I love playing it. Whenever somebody does come over, we do sit down or we stand there and play it. But I just love, honestly, I love the way it looks in my room, because half of my game room is now dedicated to turtle figurines everywhere, and I've kind of incorporated that into the design of the room. So.
Cool.
Yeah, your room looks good with that cabinet next to all your turtle stuff.
Right.
And Linda, so you said you played it at Walmart. What were your impressions?
I liked it, but the one thing is, like Mikey said, I already have all those games. I have Joust, the normal Atari games that they give you. I already have them in like 50 million collections. So if I do get a cabinet, I'm hoping that it's something that I don't have in the normal collection. Like if they would just get licensed games that are not always in the collection, I would be more appealing to buy it for the Atari ones. But if it were to be a multi-cab eventually of like Turtles and Mortal Kombat, all the 4-player games you can play and everything like that in one, and then you could just switch it to 2-player and do the middle two, I would buy it. But for right now, I'm not gonna just buy a $300 cabinet for one game. It's just not for me yet. I'm waiting to see what else they get.
What if they came out with like something like The Simpsons? Would you snap on it then? Would you jump on it?
Oh no, because of the simple fact that I can go to an arcade down the street and pay a couple bucks and play the Simpsons game and have this nostalgia feel like I always do.
Right, because that's like not a console game. That's one of the ones I was talking about.
Yeah, but the thing is if it's so popular again that every single retro style arcade has it now.
For those
Every
that don't
single
have
one.
arcades next to them, it might be a route they would want to go.
Yeah, if you don't have one, then yeah, I would say pick it up. But for me, I can go down the street and go get it and go play it for a little bit, and not pay $300.
I've honestly never seen The Simpsons arcade.
Wow.
Really?
Really?
Oh snap! You gotta go see it.
So
That's
Mikey,
such
that
a
would
good game.
definitely be one that you would be interested in then, huh?
It would be one I'd be interested in, but I would have to figure out where to put it.
I would say definitely, because I know they're gonna have. I'm hoping that they have it at Midwest Gaming Classic. They might have one.
At least get some game time on it. Like even if you go to like,
Hell yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to play the hell out of that game.
if
still
I
play
ever
it
see
all the
one,
time.
I'm gonna play it.
Oh,
I have
man.
it on a ROM for my RetroPie. It's so good.
So Bones, you mentioned the height issue. Is that really the biggest factor against you getting one that's just too small? If you were able to rise this up like another 2 feet, would that be
Well,
better?
I mean, I guess you know what, you could call me, I guess, a snob when it comes to arcade machines. Those just don't appeal to me that well. And when I stood next to that one when we were all out, and that was the first one that was actually on in a store, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, this just does not appeal to me whatsoever. And my biggest factor is, like you guys are all saying, those games, most of them I already have on consoles. There's very few that I'm not going to have. And if I want an arcade machine, I want a legit arcade machine. And even that, I would still be very picky on it. There's only 2 arcade machines that I truly want. And one of them is The Simpsons. I would really want The Simpsons arcade machine. And the other one is D&D, Dungeons and Dragons.
I forgot about that
Tower
one.
of
That's so
Doom.
good.
That Tower of Doom game, Dungeons and Dragons, was such an awesome arcade game. Those 2 I would want the legit machines for. And I would actually save up to get those instead of buying an Arcade1up. The height issue is just one thing. The whole size of the unit in general, because it's scaled down, does not appeal. And I know that I would not walk up and play that Arcade1up machine as much as I would if I had the original arcade machine here. you'd be hard pressed to get me off either one of those arcade machines if I had it. I'd put it in front of the toilet and play it. That's how much I love those games. But
Yeah.
But you had a riser though.
Hey Bones,
Yeah,
what if you built a custom riser for it to make
it's
it?
the whole
I was just
machine.
about to ask that.
Because
the whole machine is just it.
I know
it
the
looks like
riser it comes with it isn't that tall, but I know you
Oh,
can
hell
build
no.
you can
It
build
doesn't
your
even
own.
get me close to it.
I
I'd be
know it
hunched
isn't.
over like an 80-year-old man.
I know you can build your own and make it higher and make it flow a little better for you as your height, because we know you're like 6'8" and so you hunching over and playing something that small isn't feasible. So
Yeah, it's the whole thing in general though.
yeah, I know, because they scaled it down so the control board isn't as big.
Yeah,
The
it's
buttons
just
are
not
a little bit
appealing
closer
to me.
together. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on them. I would prefer to have a legit arcade machine. I really wouldn't waste my time with those. That's just my personal opinion. You know, some people might say I'm a snob about it, but I just don't see the appeal in having those for myself. Because, like I said, 9 out of 10, I have most of those games already on a system.
Yeah, I definitely see your point on that. Like me, they really have to do something impressive for me to actually buy one of these things. I've contemplated it multiple times on whether I wanted to buy one or not, and I'm still on the fence. And since I'm still on the fence, the best thing to do is not buy it until I
Yep.
feel comfortable enough that it's like, okay, that's it. It's really dragging me in now. I'm gonna buy it. Unless I find something like $50. $50, then I might snap. I might go and get it. Like if it's a used one for $50.
$50, of course. I hear you on that.
Like if Dan said, "Okay, listen, I want to clear out some of my inventory so I can make room for others." Yeah, okay, Dan, I'll be right there.
Hey, that might happen. So
Yeah, because you're running out of room, man.
definitely.
Well, when Mike
And I can
got
guarantee
his,
you,
I wanted to get that too. I was really debating on it when Mike picked up his Turtles in Time one, because that's also one of my favorite games. So I was really flip-flopping on that one, but the price automatically turned me off.
yo, I can guarantee you, Dan, there's gonna be different Arcade1up cabinets coming out that you're gonna be like, I really want that one, and then you're gonna be like, okay, which one do I want to get rid of first?
Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. I already have prioritized like which ones I'm keeping for sure and which ones are first to go.
Just let me and Bones know, and we might be able to take some of those off your hands.
Yeah, I might have to, adjust the height for Bones, but raise another 3 feet. But
Seriously.
You raise them up anymore, I don't think they might be stable.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of people complain about the construction being a little flimsy. I mean, it is like IKEA particle board almost, and
That is.
yeah. So a lot of people are complaining about that, but it has to be somewhat shippable and assemble. It has to be easy to assemble for most people, which they are. They, it doesn't take very long to put them together.
No, it took me about 2 hours.
Yeah, and then I agree with you about the game selection. I mean, I guess we're a little spoiled these days. We expect a lot of bang for our buck, and we can emulate a lot of things and cram a lot of games in the collection. But back in the day, you would spend how much on an arcade machine, like over $1,000, and get one game with it. So
yeah.
So it's just
there was the MVC, like the MVS things and stuff like that. Like
yeah,
you could get Metal Slug and Samurai Showdown and everything on your SNK machine. That's how it first started for a lot of people, is them just picking up an SNK cabinet where you could just put multiple slots in there and just play a couple games.
Yeah,
they got multiple boards.
Yeah.
And,
well, how are they holding up to your guys' usage on it while using them?
Yeah,
I haven't had any issues of mine.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest complaint people were complaining about in the beginning was the artwork rubbing off, and I guess they did a really crappy job of making the art resistant to your hands being on the controls, and people were complaining that the art would just get rubbed off really quickly.
I already saw that from day one. I saw that and I was like, there's no plastic protecting anything. kids are
Yeah.
gonna go crazy on
Yeah.
that and just destroy it.
Yeah.
Well, have you
I was,
guys
like-
heard? Oh, go ahead, Linda.
I was just as a consumer, I saw that instantly. I was like, how did nobody see that when they were passing inspection? Like, kids are playing this, not just adults. Kids are playing it.
Well,
Kids are
especially
destroying
since they're-
everything.
They're kid-sized. I mean, that's
I
like
would've
that's like
destroyed
the
that.
market that they were going after. Like, they had to be
Yeah.
making them the size that they are.
I was shocked when they didn't have a plastic anything covering the artwork on. I was like, okay, I know they can't protect everything, but I was surprised they didn't have it just a basic plastic, just even if it was the cheapest plastic in the world covering that. I would have thought that would have been day one.
Simple option on it, that you can buy it aftermarket if you want. They should have had that right away for people.
Well, my Turtles cabinet came with plastic over the.
That's
over the-
because
Yeah,
everybody
that was the
complained
new-
about it.
That was the newer gen. The newer
Oh.
releases have the plastic. The older ones don't.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't want to have
that's-
to deal with that afterwards.
That's the whole reason I didn't buy the Galaga cabinet. Whenever I bought my Turtles cabinet, the Galaga one dropped for a while down to $75.
I
Wow.
would have bought it for that.
Yeah.
I almost bought it, and I was
That's
like,
brand
eh.
new, 75. Yeah, that I would have bought that.
Well, the only one I found at a Walmart that was selling it that cheap, the box looked like it had been through hell.
Yeah.
So and the way people are telling me about Arcade1up's customer service,
It's
if it was
crappy.
damaged, I wasn't gonna mess with it because it was a clearance deal.
Oh.
The only other thing that I've heard that was problems with the Model 1s were they had a whitewash issue with the monitors. So when you look in the side, you can see like white, snowy kind of, or a white screen
Yeah,
reflective.
just like how the TVs have issues.
Yeah, same type of thing, but not as bad. Like when you stand on the side, you'll see like a little white reflection. Have you seen that, Dan, in your Model 1s at all?
I haven't looked that closely. Nothing jumped out at me. I know a lot of people were complaining about the screen, like especially the first one I got was Street Fighter, and a lot of people were complaining about the screen quality, and some people just had bad luck with bad, manufacturing, I guess, or quality control.
Yeah, some people are having issues with the board also. Like some of them
Yeah.
have had to replace their boards.
And I hear that they did replace the customer service, good or bad. They did replace things that are broken. It may take a while, but I've been lucky and I haven't had any issues. But the screen issue I haven't noticed that much. But I wouldn't doubt that would be a problem for some people.
Well, have either one of you guys thought about doing any kind of
A mod to it.
Yeah, because I've heard
Yeah.
people are modding their cabinets.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to throw that back at you guys, like to see if that would appeal to you more. I mean, I heard it can be done. People are doing it. I'm not particularly great with that kind of stuff.
Hey,
but
Dan, on the newer ones that you purchased, have you
Yeah.
seen a USB port on the back of them?
no, I don't think they're. I don't have any USB ports on the back of mine.
They're coming out. I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're gonna have some kind of USB functionality in the back,
Yeah.
Or-
So that
probably for pertaining to maybe adding more games and stuff like that. So
that would make sense. I would think. Yeah.
Well,
But
that's probably like your video mic.
What?
When
Oh,
you put
the-
that USB into your PlayStation Classic and your
Yeah, if you can download the games, you could probably get it to work. I have been talking to somebody about putting 4-player games and even some more games on my Turtle cabinet.
yeah, it's not impossible. Like there are people out there that are already jailbroken the cabinets and put retro buys on them and everything.
Right. I got somebody looking into it. That's what I was talking to the person. He said if he could, he'd put the Simpson game on here.
oh, that'd be cool as hell.
Yeah, then there you go. You'll be able to play it then.
Yeah, it'd already be on a 4-player cabinet, so that'd be
Exactly.
great.
All you need is a 4-player, 2 buttons.
and then you could add a Dungeons and Dragons for Bones as well.
Oh man, it's such a good game. Dude, I pumped so many quarters into that machine at a campground. I didn't do any camping. I was in the arcade the entire time.
Oh, you did camping in front of that arcade cabinet.
Yes, I did. I stole all the change out of the cup holder tolls. Yeah, it was great. I had one hell of a weekend.
So, Bones, do you have a Sega Saturn?
Yes, I do.
So you should get that. They have that game for Sega Saturn as import.
Oh, I'll have to buy it then.
Yeah,
You have
Pat
the
has it.
Dungeons and Dragons for the PSP?
Do they
No,
really?
I do not. I don't own a PSP.
You have a Dungeons and Dragons game on PSP, you gotta get one.
Now, see, look, now you're enticing him. He's gonna go out and buy a PSP now.
Guys, I'm not big into handhelds.
I'm not either, but
that's not one thing I collect really. I bought a Game Boy Advance. I think it's the 101 version. I think it was, where the brighter screen. And I only got that because they made Doom and Doom 2, I believe, on it.
So it has to be a Doom game in order for you to buy it, then, huh?
Oh, well, come on, Chris. What did I buy today?
Oh, speaking of Doom, they have a new one coming out. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I heard.
But
Doom
anyway,
I'll end up
Eternal.
getting it.
any other anything else you want to talk about as far as the Arcade1ups? Like, what your predictions for games or
Yeah,
anything?
that's a cool topic. That's the interesting topic to me. Is what games would you like to see? What games do you think that they need to make, or what other type of cabinets? Because I'm talking, do they need to make driving, light
Oh,
gun?
hell yeah, I want a crazy taxi. Give me a crazy taxi.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a light gun game like Evil Dead or
I want-
some shit.
I want House of the Dead.
I
I
think
want
you need
House
a
of the
bigger
Dead,
screen.
I want Maximum.
Driving, I say make one, get it licensed from Sega, put Daytona, Crazy Taxi, and Virtual Racing on it.
Oh, yes. Virtual Racing is good.
You get those in a nice driving game, perfect. Light gun, put House of the Dead 1 through 4 on there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anything that's hard to duplicate at home, and that, especially with today's TVs, I think light gun games are hard to pull off. So I think
I
those would be
want
popular.
Virtual Cop. I want the first one.
Yeah, anything that involves a light gun, like Dan just said, it's hard to duplicate at home unless you have a CRT. And even with a CRT, you don't get that full, like you have
can't
a gun
sit
in
on
your hand.
chair and relax and play without it like freaking out and running to the like left or right
Right,
top.
so you might as well just stand up in front of a cabinet and play it.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
Get with Nintendo with the light gun and have them put all light gun games on one cabinet.
Mm.
Yeah,
Back for the NES, Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think getting Nintendo to buy into the Arcade1up will be hard. I think they would want to sell their own cabinets, you know. So
Yeah, I agree.
but I think that's a lot of people have been talking. They want Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3, or Mario Brothers, you know, on these cabinets.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys feel about Dragon's Lair? I know they got a petition out going for it. I say if
Oh
you
man.
get it, free play on
I
Dragon's
don't
Lair.
know.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
what
know.
it is.
I don't know. I don't know.
They already made a remaster cabinet on like I was playing it at TwitchCon. They had a bunch of like Dragon's Lair like cabinets and a bunch of it was like
Space
on
Age.
a like console, yeah, stuff like that. It was just chilling, just like on the side, and you could play all of them.
Yeah, Dragon's Lair
Mouses and everything.
Dragon's Lair is one of my favorite games of all time, and I would be very tempted to buy a Arcade1up if they put Dragon's Lair and Space Ace on them.
Now, I just heard that they might be doing a pinball machine as well. Did you hear that, Dan?
Yeah, I just read the news. I think IGN had an article about it, but I guess the Consumer Electronics Show is coming up soon.
Yeah.
And they're expecting to release a. I don't know if they have a booth there, but they're expecting to release some news about the next lineup of games. And so I saw some videos about people speculating what they think are coming next, and that definitely it's leaked out that they're doing digital pinball cabinets. They're still not full size. They're again they're like 3/4 size. But I think the license is Star Wars. They're going to do the Star Wars pinball game.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's cool.
So
Okay.
what's your thoughts on that, Dan? Are you willing to buy into that? Are you going to purchase one of those?
So I play. There's a pinball gallery near me, and they have all kinds of like classic, real physical pinball machines. And then they do have some digital pinballs that you can change the game easily with a touch of a button and select like 3 different tables. For me, I didn't feel like I was playing pinball with those, So I don't know if I'm a purist or if I'm just not used to it, but I'm not as excited about a digital pinball machine. I don't know if you guys have a preference or not.
Linda, go
I've
ahead.
played them, but I get a headache after a good amount of time, and it depends on the game. Because some games, I get like a weird depth perception problem, and I can't tell where the ball is, and like my reaction time is really bad. I have to play the originals, like actual, has to be real flippers, real everything to be able to make it good.
Well, I heard
For
that
me, I don't know.
I heard that the buttons on the side are going to mimic actual flippers, like the feel, like when you're hitting the buttons on the side.
Yeah, but they said that with the other ones too, and they don't feel like real flippers.
I don't know. There's something to do with the coil that they're going to be using apparently on these ones. I read a little bit about it.
If the coil's different, I don't know. I would have to actually play it to see, because the ones that I played, the virtual ones, are nothing like the originals.
What's your thoughts, Mikey?
They look like the originals, but like she's saying, they don't. When you're playing it, there's something missing. I played a couple of the digital ones, and they're nice, but I don't know.
And Bones, what's your thoughts on that?
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about. I don't even a digital pinball machine. That just sounds wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong. I've only ever played.
Yeah.
I have never played a digital pinball machine. I've played real
Oh my gosh,
pinball.
I found a couple of those, and it's really crazy because you can flip from game to game, and you'll see like old retro pinball games machines, and they're all digital. So you'll see the layout of the screen. It'll be exactly how the layout was for that pinball machine. So say like AC/DC's pinball machine, it's there, and you can play it, and you can switch over to Metallica. Then you can go over to, they'll have Twister, and then you'll have a spinning little top thing going on, and it's like everything exactly like how it would be for that pinball machine. And whatever lineup you get, it's based on that. So like say somebody bought all the licenses for that one, like say they bought all the Sega pinball machines and all the, like it's just whatever Stern, like they bought all the Stern ones, they're gonna have them there, and just you can play them.
I mean, that's a good idea.
All right,
I
so
think you could switch them,
Bones,
but I don't know.
The thing with, I don't know. Do you know what a virtual pinball machine is? Do you know?
No,
all right, so
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Basically,
right?
what it is, it's a big TV in the center, in the playfield.
Yeah.
And then you got at the top where you look to see how you're doing. That is another TV.
It's literally just like an LCD screen.
Yeah, that's
depending
all
on
it is.
the one, yeah.
And basically, when you hit the plunger for the ball to go out, it goes out into the playfield, and you see the ball come out, and it's all digital. And then the flippers are just like a normal pinball cabinet, and all you're doing is watching the ball, just like you would.
Well,
nothing
the
changes.
I'm looking at one now online. Yeah. That looks
the PS2
weird.
games, the PS2 pinball collections that they had back in the day.
PS1 had them too. They just recently bought some of those games, Dan and Bones.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, I don't know about you.
That's exactly like it. It's exactly like that, but it's on an actual, looks like a real cabinet. It's just 2 screens are there, and they're functioning as like a real pinball. So that's my best way to describe it. It's literally just a PS2 game or any virtual pinball game, but just live. You can actually go over and then just play and hit the flippers.
Now, everybody has been to arcades and everybody's played pinball. And what does everybody do 9 out of 10 when they lose the ball? They hit the damn top of the machine. Now it's a screen. Looking at it, I'm like, it's just a giant screen.
Well,
that would get broken in a heartbeat.
Well, they tilt just like real pinball machines.
Yeah, they do have tilt on there.
Actually, they're way more sensitive than the regular.
Yeah, they are.
And there's also a protective. You're thinking that the TV monitor is there. No, there's a piece of plexiglass.
Yeah, there's a glass
over
over
top.
top of the monitor. Yep.
Oh, the Ghostbusters one looks pretty cool.
You
Yeah.
you can what is it? You can buy. There's a store here that has the units, and I can go there and look at them. And he says that you can buy as many tables as you want to keep pumping into it.
Wow.
It's literally just a blank canvas for you to add to.
Right,
And you just
and-
pay them for
that's what it looks
licensing.
like.
And apparently with the Arcade1up pinball machine that's eventually coming out, they're supposed to have Wi-Fi compatibility to that, and you're supposed to be able to, I guess, purchase the actual pinball machine, every pinball machine that they got licenses
I've never
for.
seen one of these.
Yeah, my wife has done said whenever we get a house that we're buying one of those because she doesn't want a whole slew of them. We'd probably
Yeah.
end up with those and just keep buying a bunch of tables.
Yeah.
$1,800 for this one I just saw online. My God, they're not.
That's a good one. They're
That's
more
cheap.
expensive. Yeah, that's a good
What?
one because you're not gonna find it for that anymore.
I've seen them from 5 all the way up to 8,000.
Yeah, that Dungeons and Dragons game I won is $3,995.
Man.
Well, the problem for Bones is the Arcade1up pinball is going to be way too small as well. he's going to have to,
he's
Oh,
he's gonna
yeah.
have to extend the legs.
yeah.
guys, I don't need a pinball machine.
Yes, you
I
do.
can-
Stop lying.
That's
Well, for
right,
as
I can
tall
go
as he
down to
is-
Chris's.
Did he
Yeah,
try
actually,
sitting-
he is right about that. He could just go to my house and play it anytime he wants. I have an actual full-size pinball machine.
Well, if for as tall as he is, the Arcade1ups, if he sits on a stool or in a chair, he could probably play it better.
Probably.
Yeah, they're selling stools for people who don't want to buy the risers or just people who rather sit there. They kind of sold it like, hey, this is perfect size for sitting down and playing, so that's always an option.
Yeah, my buddy at work, Pat from Game On, he has 2 cabinets and he's got 2 stools. And
Now,
every
what's your
time I go
preference? What's your preference? Do you want to sit and play or do you want to stand and play?
I prefer to stand and play, but after about 45, 50 minutes, I kind of want to sit down.
All right, how about you, Bones? Stand or sit?
Stand. If it's an arcade or pinball machine, I would prefer to stand. But if
Stand?
you're in a long, great game where you're grinding, yeah, you might end up sitting after a while.
How about you, Dan?
Yeah, definitely standing for the original arcade experience, especially if you're playing a light gun game. But yeah, as I get older, definitely sitting down has an advantage after a long time.
How about you, Linda? Stand or sit?
I prefer to sit. I can no longer do the 10-hour just chilling and standing around and playing games anymore like I used to.
Me, I'm more of a stander probably than I am a sitter when it comes to playing on any kind of cabinet.
So Chris, how much maintenance is a real physical pinball machine? That's what's always scared me about that. Because
It's-
every time, yeah,
Yeah, it's really not as complicated as people probably think it is. But I really haven't ran into many problems with mine. And I have an older one. Mine's from the 70s. So it just like, as long as you keep the play field pretty much spick and span, you're pretty good. As far as the resistors and stuff on the inside and kind of maintaining that stuff, I really haven't ran into any issues yet to really give a really good synopsis on how like it is to maintain one. Besides the fact of like taking the glass out, cleaning the play field, making sure that's free of debris. That's a big issue. You have to kind of make sure it's like on the right tilt, because if not, the pinball.
Yeah, it's just like a computer. If something's off, it's gonna throw everything else off.
Right. The pinball isn't going to roll correctly, so the legs have to be where they evenly spread out, and the back has to be a little bit higher than the front, obviously, because you want it to have that little bit of a tilt for the ball to roll. Other than that, that's all I can really think of as of right now. Other than that, like my cabinet has, knock on wood, has been really good lately.
yeah, just because every time I go to I went to the arcade or the pinball gallery near me. A lot of the machines are always out of order or being repaired. I feel like they break down a
That's
lot more.
because the people don't know how to respect the machine.
Yeah, that's probably
I'm being
more of
honest.
somebody coming in and like really like you know how people play. They push the machine really hard and they tilt it a lot. That beats up the pinball machine after over time.
Yeah,
And
years
then, and
of
then
abuse.
also people just running into it on accident, that just messes it up. Just barely tapping it, you mess it up.
And if they don't realize, like the people that are running that pinball place, if they don't realize that people are nudging it and doing things like that, which they should know, they should walk around and take like a quick check and make sure that the pinball machines are still level because it does make a difference.
Well, you got to think about it, man. These machines are only getting older and you got years and years of abuse. Like you really have to maintain them more and more, and they're not being maintained properly. Is what it comes down to.
And unfortunately, there's less and less maintenance people that are able to maintain them because of like a lot of the older stuff is harder to find people that have the knowledge.
Well, yeah, they're all disappearing.
Right, because like those arcade places just aren't around anymore. Like especially the older ones, like the ones that we grew up with, they're just not there anymore. They're coming in with all this new technology for arcades.
Like digital pinball machines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
now
guess
when they break, you throw it out.
yeah. Or just, yeah.
Yeah, it's not fix it
even
anymore.
that.
Don't
You
fix
look
it.
at a lot of these arcades now, or they're now coming up with barcades. You go in them, and they'll consider it a barcade if they only have like 5 machines.
Yeah, that's not surprising actually. To have only a handful of machines in like a barcade.
I've
I
never
get-
been to a barcade, but I don't really have any ambition, I think, to go to it. I'd rather just go to a regular arcade.
Well, it's getting more and more. I've noticed that they're doing bar arcades. A couple opened up here in Vegas. Like the appeal to have a bar and an arcade, it's works better in the sense that some people just want to go have a drink and just chill, and then the others want to go play the arcade, and you just pay the cover charge of $5. Most of them are, and you just go have fun. Like you literally can just go. It's free play everywhere you go, except for most of the time the pinball machines are you have to pay for those because they're hard to maintain. So I see them more popping up. The regular arcades are like dying out for some reason because people want to drink and have fun, and
You don't
And it's the
necessarily.
older-
change it.
Go ahead, Mike.
It's the older crowd that's wanting to play the arcades. These younger crowd, all they want to play is Fortnite.
This younger
no.
crowd, all they want to do is drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been to one where it was literally every single kind of gamer. It had the console games, where it was Atari all the way up to PS4, Xbox, and then it had a section for the chill, like, competitive crowd, where they had, like, console setup where it was all fighting games. And then it had the bar, it had the cabinets, and it had the pinball machine. So it appealed to every single kind of gamer and anybody who wants to just chill and watch and they had screens. So you could just watch the fight if you wanted to watch the fight.
I know a lot of people that I talked to when they went to those barcades and stuff, they always complained that they could never get on any of the machines or anything they wanted to play.
That's why I go a little bit earlier. See, if you go at the prime time around like 5, 6 o'clock, you're not going to get a cabinet because everybody's just walking around. But I usually, when I go to those kind of things, I just go just to play the arcade cabinets. So I pay my cover and I go early around like a couple hours after they open up. That's the best time.
So are you going to the barcade more for the actual arcade or the bar?
Mostly to go for the arcade. I pump in some quarters onto pinball machines that I can't find. There's the one that I actually made a video on it. It literally has a lot of the pinball machines that I can't find anymore. That a lot of them they just even I went to there's a pinball museum, and they didn't have a couple of those pinball machines that they have. So I like that arcade.
The pinball museum?
They have a bunch of them now. Called Hall of Fame is the pinball. It's like a pinball museum. You can go get all the 50s, 60s pinball arcades with a little bit of like little cabinets. And then the new one they just opened up is called Player One. They just opened that up, and that one has a bunch of stuff that you can't find. Like even they just like I don't know. It was a gamer who had everything. I don't know if he just like decided, you know, like I'm not making any money or something's happening, and he just decided to open up a bar. And he literally everything he has, I think, is his own collection. It's really crazy to see like he knows he has all the cabinets that a lot of people have. So I can see that he knew what he was doing.
Do you think it'd be funny, Linda, to see that they have Arcade1up arcades around?
No, I've actually been to one that had that. I'm not lying. I've been to an arcade in Florida that had a couple 1-up arcade machines in there, just chilling with their other cabinets, and I was like, "What the hell?"
That's
I don't honestly. I think that's a little outrageous, to be honest with you. Like,
it was weird.
If you're going to an arcade, something like Arcade1up should be at home. That should not be in an actual arcade. I don't think that it's what should be in there.
I don't know. It was a bar arcade also, and it was funny to see. I was just like, I was taken aback because I'm like seeing cabinet. I was like, I saw like Turtles in Time, and then I saw, you know, like all the turtle game, like multi-cab, and then I went to the left, and I was like, oh, okay, there's some more cabinets, the originals, and then I would turn to my right, and I'm like, that looks familiar. Why is it so tiny? Oh, it's a 1-up. Oh, snap! And it was like the Atari one, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't play it actually because I was just not appealing to me. I'm like, I'm here to play arcade cabinets, not that one.
I was at a retro game store in Texas recently, and at the back of the store they had like 5 Arcade1up cabinets. So it was like a mini arcade within their retro game store.
And that's completely fine. That is totally
It's
different.
okay.
Like going into an arcade store and being like, oh, you guys got cabinets we can play. All right, that's pretty cool. But if you're going into an actual arcade joint and you see Arcade1up, I would just turn around and walk out.
I didn't turn around and walk out because I was like, I'm here, I'll just play.
No, you said they had actual big normal size arcade cabinets there. I would stay for that, but like if it was just nothing but Arcade1up, I would just walk out.
But the thing is, it was like a hybrid. It was like they had original cabinets, and then they had original cabinets converted to multicades, and then they had
That's not too bad. Like if it's an original cabinet converted to like a multicade that has like a few hundred games on it, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and then they had like a bunch of like newer cabinets, and then they had a couple of consoles in the back just chilling. So it's like they were smaller and they were trying to utilize all their space, so they were doing it right. And then they had couple pinballs and a basketball hoop unit, and that was it. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, like
I didn't mind.
In my area, we don't have that many arcades to go to. I'd have to go to like the shore to go to the arcades because just in my general area, nobody has one. It's like extinct here.
That's the thing, it's like popping up. It's going away from the East Coast and it's flooding over to like the Midwest, West Coast more.
No, we don't have very. We have a few here, but there's one opening up here in the Midwest, getting ready to.
Oh,
so I'm saying like it's like
we are getting
other ones are closing and then the other ones are coming up.
And it's being built right now, and that's Dave & Buster's is actually going to get built like maybe 30 minutes from my house.
So I'm saying like old ones are leaving and then new ones are popping up, and it's like they're converting the old ones into like bar arcades. I noticed because that one that I saw, it looked like it was originally a bar, and then they just converted it to a bar arcade. So it's like they're closing down bars and arcades and turning them into bar arcades to like appeal to the crowd that's now like wanting that.
The new one that's opening up here is a barcade with axe throwing.
What?
Axe throwing?
You want alcohol and axe throwing together?
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
There are actually, believe it or not, axe throwing is becoming more and more popular. There is a couple places here.
Not alcohol involved. You don't want to have a bar arcade alcohol. No.
Well, honestly, there is one here in Jersey that has, it's a axe throwing with a bar. Well, I don't know how they even
no, I'm
got.
never
I don't
going
know
there.
how they got the agreement, like the insurance to agree to have a bar with X.
You must have to sign a waiver that says if you lose a limb, it's your fault.
Yeah, I'm sure they make you
Obviously,
sign
you
your
have to
life
sign
away.
something. I mean, there's no way.
I don't-
Yeah, the minute you walk into this area, you're
You
screwed.
have to sign this. I'm sorry.
I honestly won't know until for a while. It doesn't open up until 3 days after my surgery, so it'll be probably 2 or 3 weeks, maybe
Yeah.
into February before I can go.
We want to see that.
Yeah,
Well,
make sure you record that.
I'm
For
going to
sure.
be making a video on it because it's only a mile and a half from my house.
Dude, yeah, for sure. And then I want to see the area. I want to see like how they thought of that idea. Like, is it going to be in the same building, or is it outside, or what's going on with that?
Well, the ones in
They
here,
got-
they're in the building. They don't do it outside.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
snap.
all in a building, and it's really weird. They've
Oh
got
my
pictures
gosh,
of it
man.
up online.
Oh my word! I'm waiting to hear on the news somebody loses a limb at the bar arcade.
The first thing they teach you in hunter safety course, but one of them is firearms and alcohol do not go together hand in hand. I'm pretty sure axes fall into that category, guys.
I guess
Oh,
that is
man.
a weapon. It is a weapon.
Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna get drunk. Oh, you stepped on my shoes, man, and they're gonna
Here goes an axe. Poof.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Right to the throat, man. They're gonna just jugular and not realize what they're doing, and then they go, "Oh shit! I just like killed somebody and didn't realize."
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
was talking about. This guy's talking about opening this up. He showed me I asked him if I could do a tour of it and film it already, and he goes, "Sure." And he sent me a picture of his arcades that he had. He had 2 pinball machines, a Miss Pac-Man, a Rampage, and something else I didn't recognize. And then he had about 5 1-up arcade cabinets. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's this? So
Oh my
I'll
word!
still check it out, but it ain't nothing as big as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have to like go look in it because they'll beef up the pictures. They'll make them look better. Like, they'll do angles to where it looks like it's a larger area than it is. I've been to arcade cabinet like they looks like it's miles and miles, and then I get in the bar arcade and it's like 2 rows of arcade cabinets and the rest of it's just a regular bar, and I'm like, this is not a bar arcade. This is a bar with a couple cabinets just chilling on the side.
So
Hey guys, if you could think out of the box here now, you could even go with PC games. If there was a game that they could put on the arcade that you could buy for a 1-up, like what would be one game in specific that no matter what, you would buy that machine, no matter what, if they came out with one? What would the game have to be? Dan, you'd probably, this would be easy for you, but
yeah, I'll start with that. I mean, like we mentioned, Dragon's Lair for sure, probably a definite buy for me. The Mario cabinet, just for nostalgia's sake, the Donkey Kong cabinet. But I would particularly want games that it'd be hard to like control at home. And one title that really sticks out for me is Cuber, because it has like a diagonal joystick.
Yeah, it's weird. It's got a weird ball movement that you can't get anywhere.
Yeah, so the only real way to play it accurately is in arcade for me. So if they ever come out with a Cuber cabinet, which I've heard people saying that they probably might come out with one, that would probably be the next one I would add to my collection.
Well, for me, if they did ever make a cabinet, this is just for fun. Oregon Trail, Carmen San Diego, Math Blaster, Number Muncher. If they were to make like a computer educational cabinet, I buy it for just
You would
shits
say
and giggles
that.
and just put it in the corner.
You
That
so
sounds
would
just
say
like
that.
her.
Yeah.
Would be that's the only one. I would be like, they really made one? They listened to me? Oh snap! I'm buying it.
I'm sorry, Chris. You have died on the Oregon Trail.
Very. I'm being honest. That's the first time I ever heard of like all the diseases you can get from like stale meat and bad water and bad like fruit.
I have 2 that I would pick, and that would be Clock Tower,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
if they could put Doom on one.
I was going to
They
say
put
Doom.
Doom
You
on the
took my
calculator.
answer.
They could put Doom on there.
Yeah, but I don't know how the controls would switch over well, Linda, to it. You know, I played it on PC.
Come on!
And...
if you can get it on a calculator, you can get it on a PC.
Well, that
you can
doesn't
get
mean
it
it's
on
a good
cabinet.
game on the calculator.
It's still fun to play. Like I'm laughing hysterically as I'm playing it on the calculator. I'm like, they got it to run on there. It's just, I don't care if it's bad, but it's good.
You can put Doom on those real easy.
Yeah, that shouldn't be any problem. So what was your pick, Mike?
I want to take the Star Wars cabinet that they got, and I want to put the old TIE Fighter or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter games on there.
Yes.
Oh.
That's a good idea.
Those games were so good growing up.
You know what I wouldn't mind seeing? Star Fox.
Oh.
On an arcade
that'd
cabinet.
be a good one too.
Just to have some kind of cockpit.
But you could take the kind of like the Battlezone formula.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Star Fox 64,
Yeah.
the Battlezone.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of like that style for a cabinet, and then just change it up a little bit.
Well, hopefully they listen to this podcast and they take our ideas seriously, and then they make these damn things.
Well, they would have to have a kick-ass agreement with Nintendo to get that done.
Well, they could do Sega first. Sega's licensing out the games like crazy. I want a Crazy Taxi. Let's start slow, and then we'll work our way up.
Yeah, especially the newer hardware games that are going to be hard to pull off on a home console. You know, some of the newer cabinets. That'd be good. Like the 3D, the Virtua games for Sega. That would be a good candidate to put on these Arcade1ups.
Oh yeah.
For sure. All right. So, is there any other topics of discussion for this podcast?
I don't have any.
Dan?
I'm good.
Linda?
Yeah, I think we're good. The only thing I was going to mention was this new machine that I got which is the by At Games. It's the Arcade Legend.
Oh yeah.
And so I recently purchased this one over the Christmas holiday. It's available in Walmart and Sam's Club only right now. So it's a little hard to find, but I highly recommend it. It's to me, if I would have bought this before if I would have had this first, I probably would not have bought any of the Arcade1up cabinets because it basically
wow, yeah, you just kind of stumped that one.
Well, I mean, it basically allows you to. It's designed for you to customize and add your own games to it. So you really just take a USB drive and add your ROMs to it. You do have to configure it a little bit, and there's a online tool that you have to download to put the ROM in a proper format. But it's pretty easy to do, pretty straightforward to do. And then you can just customize your cabinet with whatever games you want, stuff like we were just talking about. And the console, the cabinet itself has joysticks. It has 6 buttons, and it has a trackball, and it also has 2 spinners. So it pretty much covers all the different configurations of the cabinet that you could possibly want.
And the size is it similar to the?
And it's closer to a full size cabinet. It's definitely bigger than the Arcade1up. I'm not sure if it's going to be tall enough for Bones still, but
well, nothing's tall enough for Bones. He's taller in the cabinet either way.
But it is close to a full size cabinet, and the screen is much bigger too. So it looks like a real machine. So I definitely recommend that, and it's pretty smart so far. It's when you put the ROM on, it automatically knows if it's a trackball game, if it's a spinner game. So you don't really have to configure much.
So it's integrated. It's already, everything's pretty much there.
Yeah, and it comes loaded with 350 games right out of the box.
There you go, Linda. That's your kind of cabinet right there.
And the game selection is actually really good.
Yeah,
that it even comes with.
It's a mixture of Atari, has Sega, has even ColecoVision.
Well, is it the normal, like, what we already have, or is there a couple oddball games that you didn't expect?
Yeah, there's a couple, like, for example, there's a Fix-It Felix game.
Yeah,
I know that movie. One. Yeah, so that comes with that, and it's like a officially licensed version of that game, which I had never played that before, actually.
I played it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it too. They at the same time they released that, they also released a plug and play at Sam's Club and Walmart for it. That has all those games on a plug and play.
Okay.
I bought the plug and play right instead of buying the cabinet just to try out those games. And the games actually work pretty good.
How's the
Yeah.
sound quality on that, Dan?
It's good. It's got stereo speakers, big speakers, and it's definitely good use of stereo sound. The other game that I was gonna mention was that it has Tron, the arcade game, on there.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. I barely see. Oh, okay.
That was rumored for a long time to be an Arcade1up, and I think the license must have gotten transferred to the at Games won the rights to put it out, and so they included it on this cabinet, and it does have as close as it can get without that little trigger stick.
Yeah.
But it has the spinner that you can use to control his arm to move and stuff like that. So it is pretty accurate control wise. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's more expensive. It's about $500.
Yeah, but if you
it
can add
sounds
your
worth
own,
it.
yeah, if you can add your own games and you can pretty much have everything that you have in your library now on that thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then it also has like HDMI inputs ports, so you can just plug in whatever you want and play it on the screen too. So a lot of people right now, and it has Bluetooth capability. So a lot of people right now are trying to get their Raspberry Pis hooked up to it. So using it.
Yeah, that actually is what most of the time I've seen, because for the cabinets that are like multi-cade cabinets, it's
Mhm.
usually a PC or a RetroPie hooked up to the back,
Yeah.
and that's how they run their multi-cade cabinets.
Yeah, so it does have that, and it also has this capability where it can, if you have an account through Steam or one of the other online services, you can stream into this cabinet and play through your PC or something like that. I don't do that.
Steam.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though, guys? I've seen inside some of the cabinets for Dave & Buster's. They're playing off of PlayStation 2s.
Get the hell out.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, that is hilarious. Because I have a friend who works at Dave & Buster's, and a game froze on me, and I was like, oh man. So I went to him and I was like, yo, this is frozen. So I thought he was going to open up the cabinet. It was going to be a big old board. It literally was a PlayStation 2 just chilling.
Oh wow.
And they were just playing a game off of it. I was like, oh my gosh.
That really doesn't surprise
How
me,
many
though.
games are running off of PlayStation 2 or Xbox 360s over there?
That doesn't
More
surprise
than
me.
you think. Yeah, I actually got a chance to play that at Games Legends cabinet. They had it at Sam's Club on a demo one day, and we were there for a get tires changed. I played it for 3 hours.
3 hours. Wow.
Wow.
That's more than I played it so far.
At that point, I didn't have the money to buy it because we were buying the tires instead. So then I showed my wife the I can't think of what it's called right now. The smaller version, the plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
I said it has all the games on it. It was $50, so I bought that instead just to try that.
So, but were you impressed by the cabinet as well?
Yes, I was impressed, but don't have the money for it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely
something-
recommend it.
We've already measured a spot. We've got an idea of where to put it, so we might be getting it. I haven't decided yet.
All right. Let me,
Yeah, I think.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
I was gonna wrap up. I was gonna say that I definitely think, in terms of, if you only have to own one, I would definitely vote to get the at Games cabinet. But I definitely think for the collectors and the people who are older and nostalgic like myself, I mean, the Arcade1ups do have a place, especially if you want the original cabinet art, or if you want. And there's certain things like the 4-player, the Star Wars controller, certain specific, details that you want for that specific arcade game, then I think the Arcade1up cabinet serves that purpose.
Okay. On that brief note, let's close out this podcast. I just want to thank everybody for coming in and doing the podcast again. Bones, Dan, Mikey, Linda.
Yep, no problem. Anytime.
First,
was fun.
before we get to that, let's do the game of the month real quick. Bones, what's your game of the month?
I'm gonna go with Doom.
Dan?
I'm going to go with this new Aladdin Lion King Switch collection they came out with.
Yes, that's a pretty good pick right there. Linda?
I'm gonna go with River City Girls.
And you have been playing the hell out of that game.
Oh yeah, I found the secret fight and everything, man. I collected all the stuff that I needed to collect to do the secret fight, so I had fun with that.
And Mikey?
I'm gonna have to go with Earth Air Defense back on the Xbox 360.
And my game of the month is The Simpsons for the arcade.
Uh,
So
Fitting.
let's.
What are we doing? Should we all redo it? Let's all pick it up.
All right. Thank you guys again. It's been fun. Thank
Yep,
you,
anytime,
too.
man.
Yep, thank you.
And as always, don't blow, just sleeve.
Hi, internet.
Peace.
See ya.
Party on, dudes.